next person on the panel I'd like to introduce and get to share their point of view is Ichne Gray. Ichne is a director in our risk advisory business, and you've been doing a lot of work with clients as they've kind of navigated the new risks and challenges that they've faced. What are some of those critical risks, Ichne, that you've seen clients dealing with?
No, thank you, John. Yes, certainly. I think COVID-19, like for many things in business and global economies, has certainly also affected the risk management space within a business. COVID being one and the pandemic being one of the biggest risks and challenges I think we have faced to date. So I think, what it has done for risk management functions is it's actually confirmed the productive status of risk management functions. What that means is that if you look at the performance of a risk management function in the best global organizations, they are running, they are identifying risks, they have established programs, they have established methodologies. However, they report on those identified risks, the known, in other words, they report on those known risks. What has been lagging behind is the high impact, low probability risks, the view of that to management. And I think many of the organizations do not actively pursue that angle within their risk management activity. Risk management really having a bit of a narrow view when it comes to their risk management frameworks at the same point in time. So not looking at those high impact, low probability risks actually leaves a gap and an exposure to the organization as well. The two other items I'd just like to mention is the one is that there's a bit of a lack of an appreciation of what the true value of risk management should be at an organization. Remembering also over the past decades, the business complexity has increased substantially. COVID just placed another emphasis, another lens on that as well. There's no more risk management as usual, like there's no more business as usual, workplace as usual. So the same for risk management, this put a completely different pressure on risk management functions. Even the best well-established ones will have to rethink their methodologies of how they actually manage risk going forward in a very, very uncertain future. In essence, in summary, what we see is it's effectively, risk management functions were doing great. However, they were applying 20th century type of risk approaches to very complex 21st century risk experiences. And that left a bit of an exposure for the business as a whole.
I really like that thinking around the low probability, high impact risk, right, and how that's kind of jumped up, and I think the pandemic is one of those, right? It was probably low probability, but massive impact and a ripple impact. Yeah. What are some of the key risks that you see clients having to manage differently and applying a different set of risk methodologies and approaches?
Yeah, I think, John, so, there's if you look at the broader economy, I think there's a lot of economical risk at this point in time. Leaders having to step up, ensure the revenue growth is there, the profitability growth is there. They have to redeploy assets. I think Mark has spoken very fluently around the physical infrastructure of organizations being one of the biggest charges and costs to the income statement. However, I think the opportunity for risk management, it has to be forced. Whilst you will be reviewing some of your business strategies, you have to, in line with that, remember about the risk assessment and risk management practices. Every strategic choice that leaders would now be taking within the business and new efforts and new directions they'll be exploring and unpacking has a risk conversation. So how are we going to work in the future, where we're going to invest our money, how are we going to preserve current value of the business, how are we going to grow next value in the business, actually has a risk conversation in every single theme that management will be exploring for the future. And risk management functions as that challenge. They have to step up to that conversation. They can't come afterwards and say, but we are exposed here, there and that. They have to be a catalyst for change from a risk perspective with management as a first line of defense. And that requires a solid and integrated risk management methodology. We see what happens now is that the business as usual type of risk practices, there are blurred lines now between that crisis management and business continuity, because it builds better resilience for the business itself. So I think there's a fast track opportunity for leaders with risk management. They have to be at the table, they have to participate in the conversation to produce stakeholder value. Remember, your stakeholders, they expect management to manage the risks. Can't be left.
Thank you, Igna. What I really notice in listening to you is that there's two kind of key things that have to shift, right? One, risk is going to have to be a lot more proactive. And two, if it's not integrated into the strategic decisions that they're making as a business, you're going to miss a trick.
Absolutely, yes. You might be creating a new set of risks for the organization.